We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
with global pals. It's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about
Everything theater. Hi, I'm Benita Zahn.
And I'm Ellen Cribbs. And before we kick things off today, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Harbinger Theater. You are invited to the wedding. They are doing At the Wedding by Brynna Turner, and it is running from June 6th to the 15th at the Sand Lake Center for the Arts. And it's actually part of the Capital Region Festival of Theater, or Craft Festival, because it's running through the festival. So you can go and catch that while you're catching out all the other amazing events going on in the Capital Region. But if you like a little comedy, a little heartbreak, this is the show for you. They do have a free preview on the 5th. Otherwise, you can get your tickets for June 6th through the 15th. We'll see you there.
So great cast, and I always have fun when Ben Amy is on stage. We worked together in our last lives in news, and now to see him pursuing what he so loves, it's great. He's a lot of fun. So go get him, kids. Anyway, we're talking about everything theater. We're talking. It's Tony time.
Yes, it's the Tonys, and we have wonderful Adam Dermer back with us. This is our 6th year having you.
Something like that. It's got to be up there.
He's our go-to guy for New York City.
I love it. I'm so glad to be back. Thank you.
You're the man about town on New York City.
I try, and I'm exhausted.
So I'm just going to throw this out. This was a really great year.
Busy.
Busy, yeah. Audiences were back, mostly. A lot of shows with a tremendous amount of buzz. We have shows that featured big names. Whether they were good shows, we'll discuss. But there was a lot to see and talk about this year. So would you agree, Adam?
I'd very much, and a lot of money being spent. A couple of gross, box office records were broken this year. I think a couple, at least one. So it's, when you say audiences are back, they are, and they're giving lots of money to be back.
And ironically, a show that got 0 Tony nominations, Othello, made their money back in 9 weeks? Something ridiculous?
Yeah, it was fast. I don't remember the exact, but it was quick.
Look, you put Denzel Washington on stage.
Yeah. I mean, their ticket prices is maybe another episode we could talk about, but the ticket prices for Othello were very, very, very high. So I did not get to see that.
I didn't see it either. I had seen Denzel a few years ago in The Iceman Cometh.
Yes, I saw that too. Yeah.
Right. And it was a loaded, as many ways this was, and Jake Gyllenhaal with him in this production.
Yeah.
You go for the experience of seeing these people on stage, and then you hope that the show has been crafted appropriately around them. And the reviews on the fellow were that it wasn't.
Yep, that's what I understand, unfortunately. It's exciting when those moments do happen. You go to see these movie stars you've seen for years, and they surprise you though, and you're just like, oh wow, I didn't expect that. I think we got a little bit of that, a little bit of not that this year. I didn't see Othello, but I had the same thing, and as a big Shakespeare nerd, and Othello being one of my favorites, I was like, oh, I'm not going to try that hard then if I'm getting the same response from everybody.
Another big name, George Clooney.
Yep. Yeah, good night and good luck. Also a writer for it. Yeah, he did either of you get to see that one?
Did you? Did you see it?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I didn't.
I mean, it wasn't one of my favorite. I had never seen the movie, and I was told that I should watch the movie after seeing it. It wasn't one of my favorite things of all time. but you can see, especially when George Clooney is on film during the show, why he has been so revered and in the industry for so long. It was really interesting seeing him do stage work, but then also camera work, even though that was on stage as well. But there's a difference, and he's very aware of his style between the two, and it was kind of fascinating to see him navigate that live in front of you.
Mm.
And when especially when he's on camera, he shines.
As long as you're talking camera, let's use that as our jumping off to get to Sunset
Sure.
Boulevard.
Yep. Well, actually, there was a lot of camera work this year in on Broadway. We've got Good Night, Good Luck, Sunset Boulevard, and Picture of Dorian Gray. I'm sure I'm missing something else, but yeah, Sunset Boulevard really leaned into the close-ups.
What were your
Helen, did
Yeah.
overall?
you see
I did see Sunset
Sunset Boulevard?
Boulevard.
Yeah.
And
Good.
what was really fun was that I actually was just down to the city this week and saw Dead Outlaw, which started so early and finished so early that I had a chance to go past Sunset Boulevard's theater and watch the infamous walk, not infamous, but famous walk, with what am I thinking?
Oh,
Tom
Tom.
Francis
Oh my gosh. Yes.
walking through with the camera crew and the whole ensemble cast. And it was really funny because I thought it would be this huge event, but I was there about 10 minutes before I knew it would happen. And you wouldn't think anything was going on. There was this tiny little cart that obviously was something. So I went up and talked to the person standing next to it. It was the sound guy. And he was very casual. He just said, "Yeah, this is how we set up." And then right at the moment it started, this line of people started kind of showing up, but it was so subtle. You could be walking through there and not even realize it was happening. But it was very
Yeah.
cool to see him come out and then go back in. And for people who don't know what I'm talking about, starting of Act Two, they do a live, on camera live stream starting in the dressing rooms, and Tom Francis and all the ensemble walk down all the stairs, go into different dressing rooms, come out of the theater, go back in, and he gets on stage and it starts Act Two.
Hmm.
And I don't know, because when I saw it, there's that moment early on where you go, is this live or is it Memorex?
I had
Yeah.
that debate with
And
my mom, yeah. And what was really funny is that night I saw it, I sent it to my friend, Ashley Simone Kirchner, who works at Playhouse Stage. And she goes, "Oh my gosh, we're in the theater right now." Her and her husband, Chuck Krause, were in the theater. I had no idea. They said, "You saw our walk."
Oh, that's so funny. That's
yeah.
so funny.
So is this something you think we're going to see more about him? The blending of the two mediums?
You know, that's such a great question. I don't know if we're going to see more of it by other artists, but Jamie Lloyd has kind of been attached to that for a while. Also, oh my gosh, what he directed Network some years ago, and oh my gosh, another director. But anyway, we are seeing it quite a bit, but I think Jamie Lloyd is leaning into that work, but specifically here because it was such commentary on her being a silent film star and how the industry has changed. I was I was extremely impressed by her. Um, I know it wasn't for everybody, but I was really impressed with how she used every muscle inside and out of her body to do what she was doing, and also how she navigated the camera work as well, to play with the. It's like she sees people on TikTok or Instagram on her phone, right? And she's like, "Oh, this is what the kids are doing, so I have to use this language and do these like the stuff she did with her tongue and just the faces she was making." It was a really interesting observation on what society does, especially to women after a certain age in the industry. And she's still young, I would consider her. So to take this approach, well, sure, you can argue with it from a traditional standpoint of the show. I think was pretty brilliant.
I would agree. And it was black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
all
I
stuff.
I
It was a
I loved
dream.
that.
It's supposed to be. It's told by a dead man.
Exactly, exactly. And this was a conversation I had with somebody that maybe didn't quite understand what was going on with the concept. But I was saying it's like when you have a dream, in the moment, you're remembering every detail and all these crazy colors or weird things are happening, but when you wake up, you remember very little, right? So we don't need the full elaborate set and the design. We just need the moments and the action. And I think that's part of why it was so simple and why it worked for me. I have loved Jamie Lloyd for a while now, and while I don't always agree with every choice he makes, I see why the choices are made, and I value that so much as a director.
That was
So
my
what
thought
happened
on.
to, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that was my thought of Sunset. At moments, I felt it got a little self-indulgent and a little like, look at us kind of being clever in a few moments. Not overall. I'm really glad I saw it, but directorially, I thought it was the most clear vision I've almost ever seen in any show ever. So Jamie Lloyd, director, is I'm all in for.
Yeah, he does that. Adult House, what was it, 2 seasons ago? Um, Same thing. Didn't agree with every choice, but I see why every choice was made. And
Yeah.
and he's a director that I consistently can say that about, and I love that.
So, in the moment, talk to something else. Who do you think's, let's just pick the number one. Who do you think's winning for musical? What do you think wins for drama?
For play. Musical, my instinct is maybe happy ending. That's where I think we are. That seems to be where the buzz is. I think there could be arguments made for some other shows. I also would like to throw a shout out to Real Women Who Have Curves that
Curves.
was not nominated for much, but I very much think it should have been in Best Musical category because it was the surprise of the season for me, and I just really enjoyed it. So just to say that, but yeah, musical. I'm leaning maybe happy ending, but I think there is a chance that either Boop or Dead Outlaw could surprise us. It's I'm gonna be really wish-washy with all my responses this year because they're hard. They're really hard.
There's
That's
so much
interesting because
talent.
I was thinking that maybe Death Becomes Her slash Operation Mincemeat were the ones that.
And you could argue those too. I mean, so Death Becomes Her, that's going to tour and do amazingly.
Yeah.
So that is the thing it has going for it because we look at um, who votes, and there are a lot of touring people and people involved with touring and nationally, and that is going to be something that would do really well if it went on tour.
But the tech on that is going to be hard to, recreate in community, in smaller houses
Yeah, you mean for a tour or like regional productions?
or regional productions. The fall down the
Oh yeah.
stairs,
Which should
Yes,
win a
body
Tony
double.
by itself, by the way. That
yes,
fall,
seriously,
amazing. Can we just give it a special
right?
Tony?
Yeah. But see, it was simple. You could make it as simple as that or even simpler. So I think the tech for maybe happy ending would actually be harder, but stepping back from it, I don't know that you need all the tech elements because it's one of the most expensive and like technologically advanced shows we've ever seen.
Maybe happy
Um,
ending,
Correct.
which I haven't
But
seen.
yeah, it's honestly beautiful. It's pure, it's heartfelt. They're wonderful in it. It's a show that makes you like just feel things. It's not a show you're gonna leave tapping your toes and singing a song, but those aren't always the winners. It reminds me kind of the band's Visit, which was one of my favorites many years ago. Actually, it's a poster above my head of it. Um, there's a simplicity about it, but uh, I think it's the best overall piece. But again, I could really argue for all of them. So
Best new play. What do you think?
this one's hard for me too. If I had to choose, I would choose English. I don't think that's going to happen. But English was one of I absolutely loved it. I think it was fantastic. Um, I feel like the heat is behind Purpose right now. Um, it's won quite a bit. It won the Pulitzer. Um, but it could miraculously go to Oh Mary just because of the commercial success of it.
Hmm.
And it's doing so well. But when I think best new play, I think like what's on script and how that is taken to the stage. I think English is the best play, but best production, I might lean O'Mary because I just don't think English is going to win because it closed a while ago, so it's not on
Yeah.
people's mind. And The Hills
Okay,
of California was great too.
best leading actress.
Musical or play?
Play.
Play Sarah Snook. That one's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a
100%.
one-woman
She's just
show. It's-
yeah, yeah. And she's just unbelievably precise and brilliant and I've seen it. I saw it twice within like a week and a half because I was just so floored by it. And then I happened to win a lottery, so I was like, great, yeah, I'll go back again. Um, I'm so thrilled I did because anywhere you sit too, you're going to get a different show because you're seeing different things. It's really really special.
Best leading actor in a play. And we already talked about George Clooney.
Yeah, this one's really difficult as well. George Clooney, if we go for the what happens often, the star wins. There's that. But I think Cola Scola being a writer of their play as well is probably gonna take this one, but also Daniel Day Kim for Yellowface was very much talked about. And the fact that it just ran on PBS recently, more people probably got to see it. So yeah, I think it would be between the three of them, but maybe Cole is taking the lead.
Okay, now for the one that's drum roll, schmaltz, all of the above, gnashing of teeth. Best leading actress in a musical.
And I'm going to
Literally the hardest.
quickly, this is going to be the hardest one. And I am going to interject, though, that I feel Natasha, oh, what's her last name? From Operation Mincemeat. After seeing that, I
I
could
don't
not
know.
believe she was not nominated for Best Actress. But obviously, seeing this category, it's like, well, yeah, because look at this category. But I just wanted to throw out a shout out to her
Mm,
performance. I just thought was phenomenal, and such a shame that she wasn't nominated. That was my slight of the year.
um,
Not enough PR.
I would also say the same for Helen. Oh my gosh, Helen from Maybe Happy Ending should have been nominated. It's very strange that she wasn't. Um, she's fantastic in it, and I think it's odd that they gave one less nominee in this category than they did for men. Um, Interesting choice this year. They say it was because of a tie situation. Helen Shen, excuse me. She's wonderful. So to answer your question, this is a wild one. So I think we're all thinking Nicole Scherzinger and Audra McDonald are the two ones taking the lead right now. Now, until about a week ago, or maybe a few days ago, I would have said that it could be either of them, but also that Jasmine Amy Rogers could take it if the vote is split between Audra and Nicole, because you've got the older style loving theater people will go for Audra because it's gypsy. Everybody that plays Mama Rose gets a Tony nod. But if you want something new and fresh, you would perhaps go for Nicole. Jasmine Amy Rogers act, sing, dance. It's just old school, beautiful, big, splashy Broadway performance. So if Audra and Nicole are splitting the vote, it could go to Jasmine. But since the drama that has occurred recently, if you're aware, involving another female leading lady, that is taken into the mix, and I think it might go to Audra. That could work in her advantage in a very unsettling way. But
And
the
then
thing is,
Megan Kelty and Jennifer Simard. Because
they're amazing.
They're
They're so
amazing, but
amazing.
yeah, it's a hard
It's hard because
category.
yeah, it's a really hard category, and you just have to break down what each person is doing in each of their shows. And I mean, if I was to choose, I think I actually would. I have a hard time choosing between Audra and Nicole, but I think I would actually go Nicole just because of how she embodies that character in ways that I just never imagined.
I agree with
and
that.
even though
I'm
it's
Team
around,
Nicole right
it was
now.
unique, don't you think, Ellen?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
her whole interpretation was
Yeah, and
fresh.
my only thought about Nicole is I think several months ago it would have been locked in, I think, but because that show is kind of old now, it's been running for a while, she may not be as
Yeah,
fresh in people's mind, but I want Nicole Scherzinger personally.
The only show I saw this season where multiple mid-show standing ovations occurred. So
Mm.
uh, that really says something.
When she's saying there, what, goodbye? Can,
As if we never said goodbye. Yeah,
right.
I was so impressed with how she used her body. We know she's a great singer, but how she used her body to tell the story and to find the notes and the music, and it was so stylized. And yeah, it was strange, but it was just so captivating and breathtaking.
Best leading actor in a musical is another tough one.
And this one's
And have
fun
you
because
seen,
did you know that three of these actors played Seymour in the off-Broadway production of Little Shop of
I,
Horrors? It's just funny.
I forgot about it. Yeah, that's so funny. I didn't even think about that.
um, I'm sorry, Just in Time, Jonathan Groff. Okay, so I haven't seen it, and I'm a big fan of Jonathan Groff. What I read, the first reviews that came out were, I wouldn't say smoking, but
Yeah, I saw it a couple nights ago. Um, the show is it's fine. Do we need a Bobby Darin musical? Probably not. Um, but it's entertaining. And what I will say is the crowd there was majority of over a certain age that know Bobby Darin so well, and they were so happy and excited, and the energy was wild, and that was really exciting. He was mind-blowingly good, and I did not. He's great. I know he's great, but I was like, how amazing can a jukebox musical performance be? And it's it's almost at that level, like when Stephanie J. Block did Cher Show. It's different, and he's also playing Jonathan Groff playing Bobby Darin, so you're aware that he's Jonathan Groff. It's really interesting, but the last like 10 minutes of the show, he just he's doing so much, and it's coming from inside out, just on like every muscle inside his body is working too. It really surprised me, and not surprised me that he's good, but just how he took this jukebox musical that is fine to another level. So that's my vote. Uh, I I think he might not, because he won last year and voters might not want to do that. Um, but I that's where I think it is. But it could also be Tom Francis or Darren Criss.
See, I'm all in for Jeremy Jordan this year. I purposely wore my Ithaca shirt for for Jeremy today.
Oh, that's right.
Um,
Yeah.
but he was absolutely beautiful in Floyd Collins. And we'll talk about that more when we get to Revival. But I also did not see Jonathan Groff or Darren Criss in either of those shows. So yeah, I don't know.
It's hard. Yeah, it could be Jeremy's year. I mean, he was great. I think that production somehow got lost.
Mm.
I just don't hear a lot of buzz and talking about it, so I wonder. But yeah, we can come back to that.
you raised the issue about the jukebox musical, and after um, Just in Time opened, there was also some criticism saying it's enough. It's run its course. We don't need another
Mm,
jukebox musical.
yeah, it's an interesting conversation. I understand why they exist and what they're doing, and some of them are wonderful. I love when one can really surprise me and teach me something new. I mean, Ain't Too Proud I thought was spectacular. I loved Heart of Rock and Roll. I think that was last season. Um, there's some really wonderful ones out there, but we need to know, like, why are we choosing this person's canon to make a show out of, and really explore that. And I think sometimes they can come off as, oh, let's just take this person's music and make a show. I'm not saying that about Just in Time, because it had some really wonderful moments. And I was like, oh, he sang that? I didn't realize that. Um, but yeah, maybe we just like slow it down a little bit and take some more time to think through them.
Yeah. How about let's talk about Revival. Play Revival. What are you thinking?
Wait, I have to scroll to my list because I want to make sure I remember. Play revival. I think it's going to be Yellowface, which is ironic because I didn't see it. I actually just started watching it today on PBS. But just the reviews and the talk surrounding it, it seems like it was the most overall well received. I actually really liked Eureka Day. I really liked Our Town, but I feel like Yellowface got more buzz.
How about musical revival?
I think it's got to be Sunset Boulevard, right?
I think so. As
That's
much as I personally love Floyd Collins, I think I agree with you that it kind of got swept under the rug somehow, and
yeah.
haven't heard much about it. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. I'm also a big fan of that show, which is funny that it's in revival because it technically is its Broadway debut, but
Yeah.
because the musical has been out and about for so long, it got thrown into revival.
It's interesting. People love it. People really have a cult, not in a negative way, but there's a huge following for it. I knew nothing about it except for the basic of the story. So it was all fresh and new to me, and I left feeling fine. It just it it didn't do as much. One of my good friends was sitting next to me, and she was just weeping through half of it, and I was like, "Oh, that's so interesting." I wasn't getting that connection, and it could have been just me that day. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know why. I think it just when it opened, there was so much other stuff going on, and people maybe just kind of lost sight of it.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about Floyd Collins. I feel like it's lost steam since it opened.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we were just saying. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
definitely.
what I'm saying. Yeah, that it's
Yeah,
lost, not even since, but that it's just lost steam.
yeah,
Yeah.
very much. I truly like no one's talked to me about it. Maybe one or two people, and I think that's really interesting because again, it's this beloved musical with a huge following.
And I'm one of
I
those
think,
followers, and maybe that's part of it that I was one of those sobbing people in the
yeah,
and for me it was the most impactful show I saw the whole season.
wow, yeah.
But
See,
why does it lose steam? Given all that, I guess I asked the question incorrectly. Why lose steam?
I just think because so much is running this season, and that was one of the later ones to start. And unfortunately, that happens a lot. If a show, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was one of the later ones. If a show opens on the later side, it has less time to build up its audiences. And so you've got everyone talking about, Sunset Boulevard or maybe Happy Ending or these other shows. So when people are going to see stuff, they're going to see those. And if they're not hearing as much about one show, they're maybe not going to go. Because there were quite a few open seats when I went, and I was really surprised by that,
We have to
especially
give
at
a shout
Lincoln
out,
Center.
right, to two local performers who are in that also. Happy McPartland and also Charles Franklin.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome!
So,
That's
And we are
exciting. I went with a friend of mine to it, and she had a friend in it, so we got to actually go backstage and talk to some people, and it was really lovely. That cast seems really beautiful and really kind to each other.
But that's one of the shows that I threw into my theme this year. I'm always like, what's the theme of this Tony year? And it is dead
I
people.
was thinking this too. Yes,
Do you agree? It's dead people. You've got
yes.
Death Becomes Her, obviously dead people. Dead Outlaw is all about him being dead on stage for half the show. Operation Mincemeat, all about an operation with a corpse. Sunset Boulevard starts with someone in a body bag. Floyd Collins, spoiler alert, he dies. Even the Play Hills of
What?
California, they're at their dying mother's
Uh-huh.
bedside. So much about dead people and a lot used for comedy.
Our Town.
Our Town, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That was funny. I before coming to this, I was like, well, wonder what the theme this year was. And I didn't say dead people, but I said death. Yours
yeah.
got even more specific. So on point.
why? What does that say about us as a
I don't
society?
know. You
I
know what
don't
it
know.
says? I feel like the theater community is perhaps mourning something, maybe mourning that it's evolved and changed, and maybe it hasn't found what it's going to be. I mean, the pandemic really changed everything, right? So if we're really going to break down the psychology of it, are we maybe mourning something as a group? Who
But
knows?
also, I think it's interesting the levity of how it's used in a lot of the shows, that it
Yeah.
is used as a comedic device in a lot of things. And maybe it is a sense of like these are times where even the worst thing we need to we need to have a break and laugh at it because it's, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I just have to also ask, whatever happened to Adina Menzel and Redwood? And it was a forest that we walked through and they cut it down.
Yeah, yeah, that one it didn't last too long. And you would think with her name behind it especially, the music was really good. I mean, it really sounds like a Dina Menzel like pop album with some really exciting stuff in it. Um, but yeah, they I was surprised that they were the first to announce after Tony nominations came out
Yeah. And sadly,
because she
we're
really it was one of the
somehow,
best.
oh, go ahead.
I just gonna say it was just one of the best acting performances I've seen of her. She really opened herself up that I hadn't seen from her before, which was really nice. So it was strange. She was kind of looked over a little bit this year. Buena Vista Social Club is getting a special Tony, if I'm not mistaken, or they got a special award. They got a lot of nominations, and that music is fantastic. Really vibrant Cuban Latin music. I have n no knowledge of the album previously, but people are just loving that show. So they definitely deserve a big shout out.
All right, so for the last couple minutes we have, what should we jump to, Adam? Is there a category that you want to throw out there?
Let's talk about scenic design. I rather than performance for a minute. Um, so scenic design of a play. I'm just going to list them all. Uh, Marcia Ginsburg for English, Rob Howell for The Hills of California, Marge Horwell and David Bergman for The Picture of Dorian Gray, Miriam Boother and 59 for Stranger Things, The First Shadow, and Scott Hask for Good Night and Good Luck. I apologize for mispronouncing anyone's name. I saw Stranger Things 2 nights ago, and what they are doing visually on stage is wild. It is really good. I have to think they'll win this. Um, we could be surprised maybe by Good Night and Good Luck or Picture of Dorian Gray, but I doubt it.
I want to ask you a little bit about Boop.
Mm.
Okay.
Um, you know, I think, didn't you say earlier it was an older audience, for some of the big splashy musicals?
Yeah, it's a very, when you boil it down, it's a very like golden age of Broadway style, tap, big flashy dance numbers, stuff like that.
Does it make it another month or two?
I think so because it's won some quite a few other awards and I forget which ones, but there was one set of awards a couple of weeks ago where it won several things and it was really surprising people. So it could surprise us. It could take over on Sunday. Who knows? But I think it will. I think it's an interesting show because you never really think about it, but Betty Boop is a character that people know all over the world. And the IP is just everywhere, even on like sweatshirts from like Target or Walmart or just wherever you go, you can see Betty Boop here and there. And how they kind of play on that in the story and also comment on how she is in her cartoons and it's a huge conversation about feminism and how again how women are treated in Hollywood. This is a cartoon rather than Norma Desmond. Um, it it's good. I mean, I had a good time. I would say the book was not my absolute favorite, but like it's joyous and it's funny and it's sweet and the performances are great. I think people are actually really enjoying it.
I would think
Ellen
that's one
talked
that's
about,
got a tour, right? I mean, I didn't see it, but I would think that one is surely one that
I
will
would think.
go around. Yeah.
I would think so. I think it would have good touring potential.
yeah, Ellen talked about death. You both did. Dead, death, dying, and the theme, if you will. What do you see coming down the pike for the next season? Given that we're having a comeback, we're in the house, dollars are being spent.
Oh, well, what have we seen announced so far? I guess look at it like that because I am curious as to, are you saying like what we think the future theme may be? I mean, so far we have art, We have chess. Um, so three-person shows, right? Isn't chess like mainly three characters
Yeah.
and artistry? Um, yeah, I don't know. That is really interesting to think about what will follow. Because last season I felt a lot quieter, and this felt much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not answering your question because I have no idea, but
Okay, something to think about. And do we
yeah.
need ragtime? Do we need ragtime to
Oh,
come back?
ragtime.
Do we need that?
I I kind of don't we always? I mean,
Like, see, I've been waiting for Ragtime to come back ever since it closed.
I mean it's a show that unfortunately will be relevant, I think, for many, many generations. Um,
Like
but it's
cabaret.
uh-huh, uh-huh. And it's just it's beautiful. The music is great, and the fact that it's going to be in Lincoln Center too, I think it's going to be epic. I think we shall expect big things. I saw it when it was at Encore's. I guess that was last summer, and just that music starts, and I get chills immediately. Honestly, I know that show because of Ellen. I just want to say that. You were like the really the first person that introduced me to that show. So
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
a
We
long
probably sang it in the
relationship with
car
it.
to
Yep.
rehearsals all the time.
Yeah, 100%. That
Oh,
into the
sons
woods.
of
Yep.
bitches!
Yeah. It's I think it's gonna do very well because a lot of that cast is Joshua Henry. Oh my God, he's amazing. Brandon Uranowitz, Cassie Levy. It's got some really wonderful people that are like people know their names, but they're not like huge Broadway stars quite yet, which I think is amazing because then we're not focusing on like, oh, that's so and so, you know. The original production was almost kind of like that too. Although I guess
So the Tonys have not really pulled in huge audiences on TV.
no, it was pretty bad last year if I remember.
Yeah. So what does that say? Is that simply a statement on award shows that aren't the Grammys? Um, does it have, does the show have legs for the general audience?
I gotta say
I
that
mean,
this
I feel
year,
like
though, hosted by Cynthia Erivo has gotta help, right? I
yeah,
mean, Wicked was such a huge success that non-theater people now know who she is. And if
yeah,
they've publicized it enough, people might just for that go, "Oh, is she gonna sing something from Wicked on the Tonys?
yeah.
Let's cue in." Yeah.
I mean, historically, the host always does an opening number, so I think people should expect that. But that's what something you just said too, publicizing and how they are advertising for it. Um, are we seeing enough? I, you know, are they reaching out to enough different audiences to bring them in to watch? I don't know. I don't know that it has the same reach when it comes to advertising for the show as like maybe the Oscars or the Grammy Awards do.
So
And the
what am
show
I
is
feeling
doing,
like?
go ahead, Benita.
Head. No, I was gonna say, what am I feeling like Kristen Chenoweth shows up to sing with her, along with Ariana Grande and
Indina
I
Marie.
mean, if they bring in Adina too, yeah,
Yeah.
that would that would be smart. But see, if they're not doing that, there should be some sort of advertise, some sort of like hints being dropped in social media and stuff to get people to do the whole are they, aren't they thing, and then people will watch. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll turn off at a certain point, but they'll still start
so
to watch.
then maybe the statement is, sorry, theater people, but you don't really get how to market in today's world.
Well, and they're
Yeah,
doing the
I mean,
same thing they've done
it's
the
hard.
last couple years, right? Of the Act One is on Pluto,
Hmm.
and that's where most of the technical awards are happening, I believe, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
the actual CBS Paramount Plus show will be only a handful of the actual awards.
yeah. More focused performance awards, which I don't love. Let's just do it all together. But it's for their audience, I guess, to bring the audiences in. And plus, they'd have a 4-hour award show if they did it all and I don't think CBS would be willing to take a chance on that. It is
We need
CBS,
some
right? Yeah.
food people too. I mean, as long as we're going to recreate all this for them so that this continues in a robust fashion. It's not like beer, but they gotta get, the advertisers on page here to support this. And, you know,
Yeah.
maybe it's
I
about charcuterie boards. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I wonder, how much people are really thinking about how different the whole advertising industry is now that social media is just, I mean, obviously it's been around for a while, but it's growing and growing and growing so fast. So are people keeping up with that pace in every market? And I'm not so sure about that because I haven't seen a lot of advertising for it, honestly. A commercial here and there, but nothing that's really drawing in maybe new people. And it's, the Tonys we have a built-in audience, right? I mean, people who are in the industry will watch, young people who just love theater. I mean, that's how I would like see performances when I was young and uh learn oh my God, who's Kelly O'Hara? Like, so it brings in young people that already tend to love theater. But how do we bring in people that maybe are more on the fence or just
To that point, and something Ellen and I have talked about is that, getting a young audience is the ongoing, how do you get the next generation in? And then when they are there, they're not watching the show the way the older generation does. Case in point, Jeff Becomes Her. They were screaming at the outset. And
hmm
it's like you're at a concert.
yeah. I did you go either of you see Moulin Rouge?
Not
Oh,
yet. No.
I will assume, Benita, you had a similar experience where it was just wild vocal audience. Yeah?
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that keeps happening. That's interesting. I didn't have that exact experience with Death Becomes Her, but
Oh,
people were a little more vocal.
they were screaming. Well, what can I think now? From Destiny's Child, who opens the show.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
Michelle Williams.
right.
Yeah.
Comes out and they're screaming. They did
Yeah.
everything but throwing flowers they, and it went from there. It was interesting. It's
It's
amusing.
yeah. The audiences are very, very different now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I go to the theater a lot and I see it constantly. I mean, the phone thing is really still out of hand. Um, people talking to each other. It's interesting. There have been a couple of shows that have invited the audience to be vocal and react in real time, which if I'm told that, then I'm like, great, those are the rules, and this is great. And it's always interesting to see how people do that when invited to, as opposed
Yeah.
to not being
You
invited
know,
to.
Ellen was just did a beautiful turn in these things I know, right? That's the
Things I
title
know
of the
to
show,
be
Ellen.
true. Hmm.
Yeah, I know to be true. And there were a couple of women, um, mature by age. There's that moment where you want to make the world stop and go, yo, put the phone away.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to think it's not a kid thing, but the
No,
phone
no.
right issue is, come on, guys.
And what gets me is that, we made a point at especially that production at Curtain Call, every person who did the curtain speech, because they have a live curtain speech, um, reiterated that so much. I mean, they started with turn your cell phones
People
off,
don't
and in the
listen.
middle of the speech, remember to turn your cell phones off at the end and get those cell phones off. So they say it so many times, and it's become a point where it's not people just forgetting. It's like a deliberate, we don't
Yeah,
care.
they don't
We're,
care. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. At Just in Time the other night, um, people came. There was a group of four women, probably I'd say in their 70s, that came in late to the show. The show had already started. Of course, they had great seats near the front, so they're ushered in. They have to get past everybody. People are already annoyed because they're in the way, but the show's also kind of interactive with the audience. So Jonathan Groff was like talking to them as they were sitting down. They sat down, and I kid you not, immediately
Bringing their
just
phone
like
up.
phones up and recording full recording. I was rows away and I could see they were recording videos. And finally, someone said something to them. But this is where it's not like a certain generation. It's just everybody is not behaving super properly. Actually, if we have another moment, when I went to see Smash, uh, at intermission, I ran to the bathroom really quick. I came back and my husband was like, I can't believe you left. You missed it. A whole family got kicked out by security because kids were on their phone during the show and someone had told them to stop, and it turned into a verbal fight, and then it got bigger apparently right when I went to the bathroom, so I missed the good stuff. But security had to come and take the whole family out, and they were yelling obscenities, horrible words back to people. It was wild, but it was all started because of phone. And how dare you tell somebody to put their phone down?
You know,
The
it's an
show has,
addiction.
Yep.
Years ago, I did a story in my old life when cell phones really they became ubiquitous. And the research even then was clear. It begins to change your brains.
Hmm.
You know, neuroplasticity is the ability to rewire, and it rewires us in a not socially appropriate way.
Yep.
And anyone who spends a lot of time on their phone knows it's hard to put it down. You need your fix. Some of it is the
Hmm.
just to see who responded to you to
Yeah.
get that dopamine hit,
Yep.
you know. But we're gonna need lessons in this, kids.
Not even kids, just everybody. And it's
I don't
interesting.
mean, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
don't
No, no,
mean
I don't. Yeah.
kids. I mean us, you know, as
Yeah.
we're educating, you know, put the phone down. If it's the end of the world, we're all gonna know.
Yeah. And it's, you know what, Ellen, when you say you did the announcement 3 times and said it in your show, and they still didn't, well, it's because you're not talking to me. You're not telling me to put my phone down. There's such an element of that too, I think.
yeah. And I think it's also
It's
that the
like, oh,
language needs to change a little bit too, because I say a lot, what I've been noticing a lot are alarms. Alarms going off like
oh,
crazy. I don't know why people have alarms set for like 7:30 at night, but they do. And
Medication. It's for
yeah,
medication and things
medication,
that,
Ellen.
yeah, yeah. And I think people don't realize silencing the phone does not stop that alarm from going off. And people got the watches now
yep.
that beep and do all sorts of things when they get
Oh, the
messages.
watches.
So it's like there needs to just like shut everything down. Just
Yeah.
so unfortunately, we are coming to the end of our time here. We had a little bit of a longer episode, which is nice because there's so much to talk about from this Tony season. Any final thoughts, Adam?
Just that it's been an amazing and exciting season, and I'm just gonna say my absolute favorite thing, if I had to choose one all season, Picture of Dorian Gray. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it.
Yes, I unfortunately did not see it, and it closes the end of this month, and I'm in rehearsals every night. So I'm waiting to see if maybe there's one day I'm not called that I can jump down to the city super fast. Did you see it,
What's the
Benita?
closing date? No, I didn't. And and then I'm in the show too.
Right.
So unless and I is it run till the end of June?
I I'm
I'm
not sure.
looking.
And
I
even
don't.
that last week, I think I get back and it's
It closes on June 29th, so that's that's a month.
well, I'm tied up through through and including the 26th. So Ellen, do we have time after that? Can you get away?
Well, I'll be in
Can we make
tech
a
that
quick
week,
word?
so no. But
No, don't tell me. But that's the delight when you and your friends are crafting theater as well as talking about it. And sometimes we don't get to see everything we'd like, and even with the ones we really love to see on stage because we're busy doing it too. But Adam,
Yeah,
thank you so much for taking the time. I can't believe it's a
of
year.
course. I know, it's wild.
and
We gotta
It's
get
always a
a half,
pleasure.
we need a half year with you, Adam.
Yeah, we do a half year check-in.
I like that. And yeah, for everyone, in case you didn't know, this coming Sunday, the Tonys, 6:40, I think it's a really random time. 6:40 is the Act One on Pluto. 8 o'clock is the big thing, CBS, Paramount Plus. So tune in. We'll share some of our thoughts on social media, some of our
Yes.
predictions.
And we're getting a 10-year anniversary performance from Hamilton. So that is another
Right.
great reason to watch.
That's right.
Original cast.
And I'm
Jonathan
putting
Groff gonna be there too?
I think so. It depends on what song they do.
And my little prediction is that somewhere in the show, whether it's Sunset Boulevard's number or I think more maybe a number for the show, they're going to parody, or not parody, but do an homage to the filmed
Totally.
walk from Sunset Boulevard.
I'm sure.
That's my prediction.
So we should all hang out outside Radio City Music Hall and hope for the best.
That's right. Awesome. Well, everybody enjoy the awards. And if you are local, don't forget to go check out At the Wedding, running from I closed my browser, June 6th through the June 15th at Sand Lake Center for the Arts. And it is part of the Capital Region Festival of Theater Craft Festival. So make sure you go to craftinc.org and get all the information for that as well.
And if you missed our podcast, the last one, just pull that up and you'll learn everything you need to know, probably, and get your appetite whetted for the craft festival. And keep your calendars open, because Park Playhouse Stage Company opens with Oklahoma. And my partner in crime here, Miss Ellen Cribbs, is in that as well. So get that on your calendar. Adam, always a pleasure. Thank you so very much. This is a blast.
Yeah, I always enjoy being here with you all.
Thanks, everybody. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And I'm Benita Zahn. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything, everything, everything.